Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Talking Wednesday podcast, episode 4. I hope this finds you well this week. I am Dexterity Box, joined by my host, Punk Chef 41. I would let him introduce himself, but obviously we are over the World Wide Web, so it ends up overlapping a little bit, but we will be getting into the show shortly. Just a little bit of housekeeping first. We're really trying to push the reviews at the minute. Brand new podcast. The numbers are insane for the podcast at the minute. We didn't expect to get this much support, this many views, especially. It's actually become a legitimate podcast, quite high up there actually as well. So thank you very much for that. Let's keep that rolling. Apple Podcasts is the review service we're going for at the minute because that's the one that seems to be prominent. I'll try and leave a link below in the description. It's one of the only podcast services that actually lets you leave a review, and if people searched it and they were unsure about us, that would really help us out. So please go give us 5 stars on that and just say how you like, I don't know, listening to me and basically, calling me Jesus or whatever.
If you watch YouTube, it's just basically like hitting the like button. Just do that.
Same thing, yeah. And if you've got YouTube, if you're a YouTube watcher and you've got a podcast app, or you could just get onto it's basically Apple Podcasts is what iTunes was. If you could just go in there and leave us a review, if you're a long-time YouTube watcher, that would be massively helpful. Thank you to those. I haven't checked. I saw we had one. We had one from the last one.
Nice
so if
one.
we can get another, if we can double our money this time, that would be absolutely awesome.
Because we know you're listening. We can see the downloads.
Yeah, no, they're brilliant. So we had a lot to talk about last week. We obviously talked about the Coleman links. Seems to be a little bit quieter now. The Liam Shaw thing, which didn't end up happening. That doesn't mean it might not happen, but it didn't. It actually ended up being less dramatic than we thought it could be, but what would we be if not a podcast to talk about what we'd heard and the rumours? But yeah, very interesting conversation. A lot of people are interested in the Eric Alonso story as well. We will keep you updated on that as it develops. But let's get into this week. Just a quick disclaimer, we're recording this on Friday, so you'll hear it on the normal time, but I'm really busy this weekend. Unfortunately, which means that I have got to record it a little bit earlier. This won't happen often. I assume we usually record after the Saturday match. Yeah, but if me and Jake have got something on, we're going to have to move it around a little bit sometimes. That's just the way it is. But the point is, the goal for us is to make sure that you never miss an episode, that you always get an episode on that Sunday, even if we have to bank them when we're going away or something. I want to make sure that you get an episode of Talking Wednesday, some consistency in inconsistent times. Inconsistent, that's the word. Okay, so
you got your teeth in there, mate. You got your teeth in there.
Yeah, just a little.
You're struggling.
Just. I mean, I might have dropped them in the water, but for audio listeners, I'm holding up a glass of water, if you couldn't tell from me saying water. So that's the housekeeping out of the way. Let's talk about the recent matches. I'm sure we'll have put on our Twitters about the Millwall result. Jake will probably have a video up on Punk Chef 41's channel about the Millwall review, because he is obviously around this weekend. So if you want to go check that out, go and check that out. But the match that we can talk about is the dramatic 2-1 win at Bournemouth. So in old post-show vibes and how we used to do it, what did you think about that match, Jake?
I was really impressed with how we played. We actually went for it, and we didn't do that stupid thing we do from kickoff where we hit it long. We actually played around with the ball a little bit and just went for it. Kachunga could have made it 1-0 early doors. He just couldn't figure out what to do. I think it's been that long since he's been in front of net. He doesn't remember he can go one side or the other. But to be fair, we outplayed them for most of that game, and
they did have spells, in fairness to them. And we're not dunking on Bournemouth there. There were spells where I was a little bit concerned.
It's typical Wednesday at the minute where we'll have a good 20 minutes and then we'll give them a good 20 minutes where we don't get the ball and we're chasing shadows and we're trying to get the ball back, if you know what I mean. It's like we're really bad at keeping the ball at times. And one of the things is what I saw with that, there were people actually trying to actively get the ball back, which we haven't seen for a while. When teams have possession, you do worry about our midfield being a little bit lackluster in terms of strength, because they're quite small lads in that midfield. I think apart from Pelupessy, it's quite a small midfield, so you want someone who's going to be able to stand up to them. So in that sense, it can be a little bit of a nightmare. And to go 1-0 up before half-time again must be something good for the psyche for the lad, because they're going in with a win in ahead.
Well, a lot can be said for what you said there about they seemed up for it and they seemed to be running for it. For me, it was the chasing lost causes. Patterson's goal came from not giving up. You know, when you're on the attack, the defender made a dodgy back pass, but if Patterson hadn't have been thinking, this is what could happen, I'm chasing this lost cause down, he wouldn't have been able to be in the right position to put it through Begovic's legs. You know, but because he was chasing that, he did.
Calling the Scottish nuke?
I think it's a little bit too early, but he's definitely getting goals for us. And I'll be the first to say that, like, I wasn't too sure about him when I first saw him line up, but he has slotted into this side and is performing quicker than most. I think it's because from a footballer's perspective, you're not going to take somebody who gets a scrappy goal. You're going to sometimes think, oh, I kind of want to see a striker that's getting the goals that you want to see, open play, not like just tap-ins. But a goal's a goal, and we need results, and Patterson is getting the results and getting the goals, and the goals are getting better. Like that goal he scored, the composure on it, the skill to actually get it, be in the right place, the attacking threat, the way he was lining it all up, that was ideal for me, and I want to see more of that out of him, definitely. I've started calling him Big P. I think that might catch on.
That's bold.
Yeah.
To be fair, apart from possibly Hutch with the penalty incident, and to be fair, it was... it's not that you expect it from Hutch, but it's that whole kind of thing. We know what he's like for putting a tackle, and he hasn't played for a while. So I've been waiting for that mistake to come, and it came, but that mistake came and we didn't do what we normally do. We drop our heads and we let pressure on. We actually went, you know what, sod it, let's go for it. That ball from Bannon to find Harris and then Harris to pick out Rhodes of all people. Yeah. And I think we were all thinking, I think Captain Nat called it in your chat about that. He said it'll be a Rhodes like 95th minute or something. For that to happen.
It was like, have faith. And I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. But the whole thing where you see the players' reaction to Rhodes thing, you see the coaching staff, they all know that the ability there. What gets me, it's taken all this time for us to have somebody who's in the under-23 to go, you know what worked for Jordan Rhodes? Put a cross in and he'll put his head on. We all know this. Anybody that's had him at a club, no, you get a decent ball into him, he scores goals. And that... It was just so nice to see the players rally around him, and there's a picture that's Darpot where it's all the players coming back, and there's like a Bournemouth player bent over. It's like that team spirit that we kept on telling him was there a couple of seasons ago is back again. There's none of that in fighting. You can see, well, they're posting stuff on social media again.
Yeah, it does seem like the shackles have been lifted a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it does seem like they've been in a box a little while, and our form goes to show that. We're going to talk about Neil Thompson in depth a little bit later on when we talk about managers and the situation at Wednesday. But that Bournemouth result, it obviously got the Bournemouth manager sacked, so Bournemouth fans were happy with us because they weren't happy. Jack Wilshere got his first start, and even in all of that, Wednesday came around and got the 2-1 win, and in my opinion, it was a deserved win. And also, I've just got to say, the Big P thing comes from the Big Dave link, by the way. Oh, yeah, because we had Big Dave, now it's Big P. I just thought I'd clarify that because I know what the internet's like, right? But yeah, it's that actually links to what the club have been doing, actually, because it comes around me making a bit of a joke yesterday when the club were calling around doing the Brentford thing. They've kind of taken the tack from Brentford where they were calling supporters during this time, giving them a bit of emotional support. I think the club thought that'd be a bit of good PR, and it's also good for the community. Brentford started it. We've clearly picked up on that and decided it'd be a good idea, and I think it's a really good thing that we did it. And I kind of made a joke yesterday because I got a phone call around the same time they were calling, and I was like, thought it was Big P, when actually it was a tax fraud scam going, you have a tax return. So I was like, great! Not the Scottish man that scores scrappy goals and is actually making Sheffield Wednesday have a chance of surviving relegation at the minute. But yeah, that was under the club housekeeping.
Did you see a lot of the stick that Wednesday got for this, though, from some fans going, oh, Brentford, you should have been doing it early. It's like, it doesn't matter when it happens. It's the fact that it's happening. They've done it.
It's not like Wednesday came out and went, this is the first thing we've... I think, if anything, it's fans going, oh, look at my club, look what we're doing, and trying to big it up and not realising that it's actually a thing that Brentford did first. I didn't really say anything about it because I did realise it was us doing exactly what another club were doing. But you've also got to notice that not every club's doing that. We decided to do that, which was good. And it's a good PR move. I'm not an idiot. I'm not naive.
Yeah.
As much as some people think they like to throw the word naive around when we talk about Chancery and we try and see it from a objective perspective. We're not naive,
no.
We do know what's a PR move, what's this. We just look at every side of it because we try and stay on that line of objectivity with quite a lot of rampant subjectivity when we start getting opinionated. But we always say that. We always say when we're going into our opinion, because we do like talking about the drama as well.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
we're
fair, not here
to
make everybody happy.
Podcast if there wasn't a little bit of drama. Thing.
It's also a case of these. There's a fine line that people step, and I don't think there's enough of that on YouTube with Wednesday. I don't think enough people actually step into things because so many people want to present the club in the best light. I always want to see the best in the club, but I also want to say that there's a massive amount of fans that want to hear somebody talk about their grievances with the club.
Yeah.
And even if we don't agree with those grievances, I want to talk about them, you know? And that can probably get you like blacklisted from certain clubs, but let's be honest, we're doing all right. We're having a laugh with it. It's all fun.
I want to know how many people hung up not thinking that it was real.
No, exactly. I hardly ever answer phone calls that numbers I don't recognise now. I've hit that point where I'm like, nah. So we'll, but yeah, prank calls, that'd be quite funny. Yeah, all right. Jordan Rhodes, yeah. You just scored an actual screamer and actually, yeah, all right, cool. And then just hung up on them. But, no, we got the beautiful PR opportunity out of it.
It worked. And I think it did something good for the fans as well, where there's a big split at the moment in the fan base with what's going off on the pitch and off the pitch at times. I still see people thinking, oh, it's still going to be hard to get out of this relegation battle. I agree, but I'm seeing more from this set of players now than I've seen all season to a point. They're actually seem like they're wanting to put up the fight. That fight we've been told that's been there is now showing. And they're playing with smiles on the face, and they're actually holding themselves accountable when someone loses the ball. One of the big ones I had in that night with Barry Bannon, he screamed something at one of the people. He couldn't get there, and Hutch just stepped in and just went, "I got this, lad. Don't worry."
Oh yeah, we should probably talk about the Hutch thing actually, because obviously we said it was a win-win. It's sort of an incentive-based deal for Hutch, and then he goes and gives away a penalty. But I will say, up until that, he was solid. He was one of our best players, getting some chance, got chances that would lead to goals. He was getting his body on the line, getting the blocks in there. And then, I think he should have let it roll to Westwood, because Westwood could have made himself big. He could have slid it underneath him, but you're giving away a penalty there, Sam, if he just flicks it, and that's exactly what he did. So behave. We don't need that in the box. Outside the box, fine. Take a tactical. He's a man that will come in and tear a man in half when we need a tactical foul. I respect that. But that situation,
you could see it on his face. He was like, "Oh no, I pulled a clanger."
Yeah, no, exactly. But it'll get forgotten because we won.
Exactly.
So, hopefully, you never know. Right. Topic number 2, kind of, because obviously, I'm not even going to number them. But next topic, our very, very active transfer deadline day.
Stayed up till 11 o'clock just in case. We did our usual kind of thing. Well,
I was
don't
on a
go
Bournemouth,
to bed yet.
I was on a Bournemouth pre-review thing first, and I thought, I'll stay up after this. And
I was on 2 podcasts that night doing something for one I did on Monday, and then I went on to a Scottish one, and they were all going, "What's going on with your club?" I said, "I don't know."
No, I was like, I'm going to stay up and just watch anybody else signs. It has been a generally quiet transfer window. It's worth saying.
I think the busiest team with Preston.
Yeah, we were not good in this transfer. Well, transfer deadline day, transfer window. We signed Andre Green. Seems like a good bit of business. We brought Hutchinson back, but I think that's it. Yeah, we brought Marriott back on loan, who was already loaned to us, but he's just returned. So not loads.
And we kept Liam Shaw till the end of the season. So
yeah, I guess if you're looking at that, the fact that he was talking with Celtic, allegedly, means that with the fact that we kept him is a good sign. It means we've got more opportunity to actually get him to sign a contract if he's going to stick around, and hopefully he can come and give us a good 6 months before we have to worry about any of that. We did have one transfer bit of business. Connor Grant's gone for an undisclosed to Rochdale, so it's a case of, I don't mind this, to be honest. People are saying, we should be playing the youth more. We are playing the youth more. Clearly, Connor Grant was going to take a little bit more time. We've probably got a good deal for it. We seem to be that club now that wants to use our academy as a selling and balancing the books for financial fair play, and I'm fully down with that. I'm fully down with that.
It's been so long.
The one thing you've got to do as a Wednesday fan in that situation, though, is not think that everybody coming through our academy is going to be Lionel Messi. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. If you start thinking like, why have we just sold this player? Oh, that's potential gone. No, it's how football works now. We need to make money. Selling young players is a good way to make money if you get good deals on
he's
them.
19, he's gone for 13 football, didn't think he was going to get it. I got absolute respect to anybody in anyone's academy who goes, I'm not playing 13 football, I want to do my job, which is a footballer. Like, I've seen it where you see League 2 players go down to like non-league or even lower and then get a part-time job to then have on top of the thing. They just want to play football. So fair play to him. He told he's not going to get into the squad. He's going to be under 23. He can go out there, progress in his career. And it might be one of these things you never know. In a couple of years, he might have really got on and we're like, we had him at one point. He's looking good. Shall we get him back?
Yeah. Our only issue, probably we've got good incentives in there. Our only issue with young players going is the ones that get the first team game time, make a name for themselves in a couple of months and then sod off on freeze or low compo. That's the ones that do our nut in, because then they're starting young as mercenaries, you know. That's not how an academy should work.
No.
So I'm hoping that we can sort the Shaw situation out so that doesn't happen again. But I'm not going to talk about that too much more. We talked about that loads last week. So, players we missed out on. Stewart, Simmons, Pickering. I didn't talk about Stewart and Simmons. Jake, I'm going to throw that one over to you because you talked about them a little bit earlier in the window.
So Stewart and Simmons were basically lads we looked at before, I think, in the summer. And we were linked with them. Simmons, we definitely tried to get something done for, and it just didn't work. But the fees that both of those have gone for, it's just like, you could have got it. I think Simmons went for 150k and Stewart went for 300k. That is nothing.
That's why we're bringing it up, by the way, because they've moved in this window. That's why we're bringing it up now, even though they were summer links.
And that's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. And I think Simmons is like 21. So you could have like got him in. And I think we were quoted, I can't remember it, and it's allegedly, so it could have been $1 million or so from from Man City in the summer, and we didn't go for it. So it's kind of what they've won. Yeah, we've missed out. Yes, it feels like a bit of kicking teeth, but at the same time, if the deal's not right for the club, we don't want to be putting a George Hurst.
I'll be honest, mate. This might just be me, but I think this will speak for quite a few of them. I had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
So it's a case of like, I don't see it as a big loss, but if it is somebody we were after and we couldn't get them, I'm not too fussed on this one. The one I am annoyed at is the one that I'm going to move on to after you finish this little sentence.
To be fair, it's like the Lico deal and the other one, the Zahora deal in the summer. Similar to that. But let's have a look.
And Zahora. I'm gonna help you pronounce names. Even I am the worst at pronouncing names. But how am I? Right. Anybody who's followed my content for a while, how am I the one that can pronounce names on this podcast? How has that happened? Because that shouldn't happen. Because that has never happened.
Well, you got a co-host that just can't pronounce names. We all saw me try and do Coventry team line up.
No, I know. We've talked about that in infamy now. So yeah, the one I'm annoyed at is Pickering, because he's gone to Blackburn. We were after him. The issue seems to be, and also, can I just say, they've loaned him straight back to Crewe. So that was on the table, probably. Yeah. That's probably the reason they've done it, and the fact that we offered to pay in instalments rather than up front.
Yeah.
So we were trying to be stingy on the deal. So Crewe have got their player back, and they now have got a lump sum for him rather than have to pay in instalments. It's a better deal that Blackburn offered, even though they're not going to use him this season. I think for the player, it'd be more ideal for him to come to us because he'd be playing in the Championship.
He would have been started playing, but if what they're saying...
But then again, our fullbacks are doing all right at the minute now under the current regime, so maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. But that's what annoyed me, the fact that they signed him and loaned him straight back, and we were being stingy about it. I understand the situation we're in, but what was the deal? Something like 300, 400k? It wasn't much, was it?
It wasn't much at all. And it's one of those things, some clubs prefer to have that money up front, especially in the time we're in it. That money they get there could help Crew for the next 6 months in terms of either wages or keeping like stadiums and stuff like that. Things like that, I can understand why they took it.
Yeah. Why do you think we didn't sign more players? What do you think's happened?
I think we missed out on some targets. I think we missed out some targets due to the club position, the lack of leadership with who's in charge at the minute. Even though he's doing a great job, players want to know that that's the manager that's going to be there in a couple of months, like for a year or so. And I don't know if agents have gone or players have gone with our recent not getting paid on time. Had that gone into the psyche? Other clubs are apparently allegedly not getting paid on time, players.
Yeah, they're not being. It's not really being reported as much, but there is reports starting to come out now.
We are just seeming to report it and being honest about it, that we're not doing it. And it's this whole thing. I wonder if some players seen it like
we aren't being honest about it. Can I just correct that? We aren't being honest about it. The journalisms are finding out. The club aren't going, oh, we're not paying our players, but they are commenting on it when it's brought up, and they are admitting that it's a situation, and they're having a dialogue with it. But
that's what I mean by being honest.
They didn't come out and go, oh, we've not paid our players. We're not trying to say that that's what was said, but yes, we have had an open dialogue about it since then. Well, kind of cagey, but yeah.
And to be fair, Chansiri said it was going to happen again anyway. He said he didn't guarantee that it wasn't going to not happen again when he had that media thing. So we did have that. So fair play to him saying that it might happen. But I think it's a number of those things. I think position, not knowing who the manager is, and just general financial stuff could be it, really.
I do worry. I do worry because now we are left in a situation that links into our next topic. And I'm worried about the fact we didn't do much business in the window if we're going to stay up. But this is what worries me even more, right? I looked at the available free transfers, and there's probably loads that I'm missing, right? Yeah. But looking at the bank and the ones that... There's one that could happen in a blue moon that would be ridiculous. But the ones I've got on here, players that Wednesday could sign, because yes, we cannot sign any more players, can't do the loan deals. I don't even think you can do emergency loans. I don't know how the emergency loan system's working. Maybe there's something there, but we wouldn't qualify. I don't think. There is a chance of free transfers. We cannot sign anyone who's had their contract cancelled since the end of January. No. If they were playing in this league, I believe. I think that's only for something English leagues. That, yeah. It could be international leagues too. But basically, people that have been a free agent before this window or during this window, February onwards, you're kind of out of luck. One player that we were linked with a little while back, and I was also linked with a move on deadline day, but it didn't happen, is Ahmed Musa, right? We were linked with
in the summer.
Him in the summer, yeah. He's a free agent. West Brom were linked on deadline day, but Big Sam went elsewhere. I don't think they got the deal over the line. I didn't think they went for it. So he had a Prem opportunity, which means even lower end Prem clubs are still looking at him.
Yeah.
If that is an option, I can't see the negatives in it, apart from the fact he's obviously needs to make sure he's fit.
He also reportedly, and I read this somewhere, that he was reportedly, Burton were looking at him and he missed the trial.
Burton League One now?
Yes, I do believe.
Well, I don't know if he'd want to go... I don't know if he'd want to step down that far. That might be why he missed it. Maybe it's an attitude thing. We don't need any more bad eggs in the camp, for sure.
No.
But he had a lot of potential at one stage. I know his career kind of like took a bit of a dive. But if it's a short-term deal and he'll accept a short-term deal, we do need more options. Unless Rhodes can go on an absolute storm and start firing with Patterson and then Windass, then I think we've actually got strikers, you know. The problem is the strikers that we've got, we've been saying we need a striker for ages. It's because the ones we've got have been a bit dead woodish because of the whole way the club's been recently. The one I picked out of the sky, and yes, I'm kind of half joking here, but he is a free agent, is Daniel Sturridge.
You are clutching at straws on this one, mate.
Well, he last played in Turkey. I'm just saying, and he'd fit really well in with our injury room.
Were you playing FIFA when you found that one and then added it?
No, he's genuinely a free agent.
Jeez.
Because he went to Turkey, but I've checked, and he is a free agent again. So he's not at a club. Daniel Sturridge is available, so technically it could happen. I don't know why I put that one in. I just thought it was really funny, but we'll see what happens. Another one which I don't think will happen, but could be an option if we were looking for wingers that could come in. I'm skipping one and coming back to the one that you can see in the document. Another player that recently played in Cyprus and isn't the player they used to be is Bakary Sacco. Is also a free, 32 years old.
Is he 32
Hasn't played
now?
in it. Yeah.
Oh.
He's hasn't played since July, so it would depend on fitness, but neither are green. So he's not played professionally since there. I think it depends on how he's keeping fit. I don't see that one necessarily happening, but if we're looking at options, the ones that would actually be able to do something on a short-term deal, he's one of the only ones I could pluck out that I was like, maybe if he's fit, he could actually be a good option for us, give us some depth. But I'm actually quite happy with our options on the wing in Harris, and Reach is playing well.
The wing actually looks a lot better now.
It does. For some reason, Thompson's kind of turned it around a little bit in that aspect. Like our attacking players that I thought we needed depth for now. I don't know, results change everything, don't they?
They're all performing well, aren't they? They're all looking like they're up for it. There was a bit recent where you're like, he's not there. Like, even people who weren't liking what Reach was doing, Reach is now starting to get bits going.
The thing is, though, if we get spanked at Millwall, and we might have been spanked at Millwall by the time this is out, we could be again. This could be relevant again. Who do we bring in? So if you're watching this breakout a few days after the podcast, it's going to be even later news. Subscribe and make sure you're there when we actually get this out on the press. But we could be looking at bringing in more attacking players on the freeze. But the one that we're actually linked with, let's talk about the main link, is Lazar, right?
Yeah.
Player that's played for us before, is a fullback, look good, biscuit knees type of player. Apparently it's reported we're closing in. There is now conflicting reports, right?
Yeah.
As of the day of recording this podcast. Some people are saying that he cannot be signed because he was released after the window.
Yep.
Some people are saying he was released on January 26th.
Yeah, some people are saying it was 2 weeks ago, but it's only just been made public. And
exactly.
There's also AC Milan apparently looking at his signature as well.
What?
Yep, there's a link with AC Milan.
Well, why would he want to go there? You know, when he can come to a struggling Sheffield Wednesday side.
I know. They might have the nice shops and stuff, but he could go.
We were looking at him in the summer, apparently. For whatever reason, a loan deal didn't materialise. We are looking at him again. What do you think the probability is on this one? Because out of more, if his contract was terminated, I could see a short-term deal on the table for him.
Yeah, short-term deal, yes, but if you've got someone like, if the rumour's true and Milan are looking at you, and don't slate me here, but if I'm a footballer, AC Milan or Sheffield Wednesday, I think I know which one I'll go pick.
But why would Milan go for a player that's hardly
weird.
played?
It's weird.
Where have you read this?
I'll find it, yeah.
Please do. Was this one of those Twitter pages made by a 7-year-old in his mum's basement bedroom? I mean, we don't really have many basements here, and we call them cellars, don't we, really? We're not really a basement kind of thing. But no, I think he'd be a good option, but yet again our fullbacks have started to perform a little bit more. Palmer scored.
Inside Football, Newcastle star a club to end contract aimed at AC Milan interest.
Right, so if that's the main link, fair enough. We'll have to see how that one develops. If that is already changed, this won't be a breakout. And it'll ruin the whole thing. But yeah, it's it could be on the table. We'll see if it actually develops and we get
he's been in Italy for a little bit already. I think his last loan was in Italy.
Right, okay. So maybe he's... How much did he play? Because I know he picked up another small injury when he was on loan at his last club.
He is very injury prone.
He
so
is.
He will fit right
so
in.
Again, I don't know why he wouldn't fit in at Wednesday, because that seems to be us.
Let's have a look. Let's see how many he played last year. At least I can say his name. 9 appearances.
9 appearances in AC Milan one year.
Yeah, maybe not.
I'm not sure how much I buy that one.
And that was Serie B.
Really? He's got more chance of signing for Sheffield Wednesday, surely.
Yeah.
We'll see how that one goes. But yeah, there's not a lot on the free market, unfortunately. I've seen.
He did look good when we had him, but it's what it wants. It got to have an incentive to how many games he plays.
No, definitely. We can't be signing. For the love of God, do not sign him on a long deal. If you do sign him, make it incentive based. Do a Hutchinson.
What was it Newcastle fans said? Part-time football, full-time influencer on Instagram and stuff.
Oh, is he one of them?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, a bit more somber of a topic, a bit more of a shocking topic, which some Wednesday fans won't want to hear, is we're going to talk about the potential departures at the end of the season, because it's important now. We know we've not strengthened that much this season, what we could be shaping up like at the end of the season.
To be fair, it's another big rebuild from last season.
Exactly. So the contracts that are running out at the end of the season are Reach, Bannon, Shaw, Westwood, Lees, Harris, Kachunga?
Yeah, I think he's only on a 1-year deal.
Double check that. Uragidi. In total was around 19 players out of contract.
Can you just say his name again? Because I screw it up every time.
Uragidi.
There we go.
Hey, there we go. But yeah, that is a lot of players. Adam Reach looks like he's down in tools, ready to go. Also, Rhodes was in there, wasn't he? I was right about Rhodes.
Yeah, you were right about Rhodes.
Yeah, Jake forgot what year it was and put the wrong year for Rhodes. But yeah, Rhodes is out of contract as well. He's obviously just scored for us. So if he does start firing, there's a chance he doesn't sign a new deal. I don't think too many people at the minute, even though we all really want Rhodes to do well, unless he does get some consistency this end of the season, that won't be the massive loss. It'll be a loss of potential for us. I
think the issue with Rhodes is say you keep Thompson in as manager and say he gets it full time. There's a possibility where you go, right, I want you as my striker. I know what you can do. I've seen what you can do. Let's just give you another year or something. Yeah. Kind of thing.
What I've also got to say, just because I've left this hanging too late, the potential comment there, I wasn't talking about he's young and he's got potential. I'm talking about what could have been for Rhodes. Yeah. That's what would be left in the dust for us. But yeah, I get what you're saying about Neil. We are going to talk about Neil in detail later.
The contract ends 30th of June 2021.
So he's out as well. So we've got, at the end of the season, you're looking at like Windass and Patterson will be around.
Yep.
To score the goals for us. If Barry Bannon still hasn't signed that new deal, so we could be without our best player. I don't care what people say. You're all entitled to your own opinion, but for me, Bannon is still the man that makes things happen most of the time. Those through balls have been brilliant. His through balls have been the highlight of our season, pretty much. A highlight in a low season. Shaw could be off to Celtic. Westwood might not sign if he doesn't see.
Want me to go through the others that are out?
Yeah, go for it.
Moses Ojabayo, Joey Pelupessy, Jude Van Aken, Matt Penny, your guy Brannan, Hunt, and Shaw. Joshua Render, the goalkeeper. Liam Waldock, Ben Hughes. Yeah, that's it. So the ref ones are like little youth team player bits, but Penny's starting to look like he's looking
Penny's
okay.
in there as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so...
Yeah, it's a lot.
So Penny is starting to try and find his form. It was said today, actually, in a press conference, yet again, we're recording this a couple of days earlier, that Penny's going to get his chances, and he's been showing that he is going to develop, which is good to see. I think
the one on
even
there
if we stay up, I think even if we finish this season and stay up, I still think a lot of these players will go.
Yeah, the one that might be interesting to see what happens is Westwood, because yes, he's getting on a bit, but that announcement he made the other day, he might want to get his future sorted ASAP.
Yeah, so Westwood's having another kid. He's already settled. His kids are Wednesday fans. There might be something there. He's already at the stage where wherever he goes next would be his last club. And to be honest, he's probably only got another couple of years.
Yeah.
So I can see Westwood being the one that re-signs that if he keeps getting game time. Because let's be honest as well, against Bournemouth, Westwood saved us at the end. Westwood has shown signs of still being the Westwood we know. So I am happy for Westwood to sign a new deal. Looking at that now, who I am desperate to sign a new contract is Bannon, Westwood, and Reach, but I don't think he's going to.
I want it to be Bannon, Westwood, and Shaw. As much as we've had this whole situation with Shaw, what I've seen from him.
No, I agree, actually. Good. I'll put Shaw in mine as well.
Shaw looked decent, and your guide as well, because he's looked decent recently as well. I can't say names. I can't say it. Uragidi, there we go.
I might have got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it.
I know, I think you're right.
Yeah, no, Shaw is one that I want us to tie down to a longer contract. Kachunga is one that is starting to show a bits of what he can do, so I'd like to see a little bit more. Harris has actually been amazing the past couple of matches. So all those out-of-contract players, you've got to look at the benefits here, right? And let's talk about what this could actually mean. They know they need a new deal or put themselves in the shop window right now.
Yeah.
So that could also work to Wednesday's advantage in the fact that you've got players fighting for their position.
Fighting for new contracts.
Yeah, exactly. Fighting for new contracts here, fighting for moves as well. You know, I think players like Reach are going to want to perform because I think they fit. I think Reach belongs at a sort of top-end championship club that can, and I think Bannon's the same, but I think Bannon's got more of a sight to stay here now. He's reaching that stage of his career.
I couldn't believe it when I realised how old Bannon was. I was like, oh my God, he's been here for such a long time.
No, he has. He definitely has. And he's got loyalty to the club. I don't think Reach is a bad dude either. I don't think, and to be honest, I don't think he's wrong for seeing out his contract in a weird way because the club is probably not where he was wanting, and it's not his fault we paid all the money for him. Do you know what I mean? No. And he's always spoke well. He's not a player, apart from this season where I have seen him cut a couple of runs. I'd never say Reach before was a player that downed tools. He didn't have great games, but he wasn't a player that dropped his performance level, his effort levels, sorry. So Irigidi's also started to look good for me, so I'd like to see him sign an extension as well. There is players on there. Lees is one that I'm like, yeah, maybe a year, but he's been rock solid and then absolutely catastrophic in the past few games.
Yeah.
You know, Lees has been the one that like has been solid for us in certain situations, and then he's scared me crapless with ducking out of a header. Or like, look at Coventry. I think Coventry, he was mainly responsible for it, You know, so that's the one that I'm probably less concerned about. I look at it.
Go.
I look at the fact that it's a rebuild job. You know, it's do the club want to rebuild with younger players? Is that why we were looking at Pickering and why we've brought in Green? Do we want a mixture of experience and youngsters and start again? Because you've also got to remember, we might be balancing the sheets a little bit here. I don't think Chansiri's ever going to do a run like he did before, where he stupidly spends the money, but he could spend a little bit more money in the future. That could happen.
But there are smart transfers to get out there if you're smart. You don't have to spend a lot of cash. There's good League One players who are ready for that step up. There's good free agencies. If you get them to the right fitness and get them there, there are good players. And there's probably going to be a hell of a lot of clubs that are going to lose players because they can't add the budget to give them the contracts.
No, definitely. We should have poached players like Tony and stuff like that. That a player like Tony would have been ideal for what we need this season. Actually, who's the current top scorer in League One? I wonder.
Is it Clark? Harrod? Is it Clark?
Let's have a look.
Peterborough.
No, he's second. It's Luke Jeffcott at Plymouth.
Oh,
he was 14 goals.
He was a link with a move to Forest during the window.
Oh, fair. So he's got 14 goals from 21 so far.
I think they went with Glenn Murray instead.
So yeah, I'd say if you're going to do a rebuild, that even though it's the league below, let's bear in mind Gary Medine was a goal scorer in League One, but Jeffcott, Clark Harris, 14 and 13 goals. Jeffcott's got a better conversion rate, much better. He's got a 42% conversion rate, 14 goals in 21 games, whereas Clark Harris has got 13 in 24. I think we need to definitely be looking at players like that if we want to.
Recruitment next year will be interesting what happens, and it all depends on where we are in the league. If we're in League One, like someone said on Monday to me, when this already seemed like the building for League One, but I turned around and said, at the minute, we can't build anything because we don't know what's going on. Most players that want to come to a club, they want to know that's going to be the manager. Until we get the manager situation sorted, it's going to be hard to do a rebuild. Unless we're going down this sporting director model that we talked about last week, where you might not need a manager.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Like we've been beating around the bush about it. Let's talk about the manager. Let's do the manager update.
Yeah.
Neil Thompson is now 2-1 or on the odds. So he has moved right in line. Coleman's dropped down. He's now second favourite. Keane's third. Before we talk about Thompson, I just want to tell you a link that's coming at fourth on the odds. Right? Comment if you know this guy. Henk 10 Kate.
Oh, I'm glad you're doing this one.
Last managed in the Saudi League. Was an assistant at Barcelona from 2003 to 2006. Managed Ajax for a year after that. He won their version of the FA Cup and the Community Shield. Then he went on to be Chelsea assistant for a year before he did a league hop like Carlos did. He's fourth in line. I don't know where it's come from, but he last managed in the Saudi League, and he is fourth on favourite to be Wednesday's next manager at the minute. So, if you want that guy...
Please don't, because I struggle to say that name all the time. I just know him as Henk.
Henk could be fine. That's fine. But yeah, just thought we'd keep you updated on what the new manager rumours are, and that is on the odds. Henk has climbed the table, but at the top is Neil Thompson getting the job. Right. This is obviously a situation of what happened at Millwall we don't know at the time of recording this video. Yep. You will. You are future people. But do we stand in a position to give him a short-term deal? What do you feel on the short-term deal till the end of the season?
I think it makes sense because at the minute you've got those players playing some of the best football we've seen this season, to be honest with you, and they're looking happy. I don't think the idea of bringing someone in to disrupt that is a good idea. It screams a little bit of the Stuart Gray situation we had, where Gray took over, players started playing better, and results started to come. And we started to look good. So we thought, you know what, let's just give it in for now. He already knows the club. He knows the people. He's already here. Let's just go down that route. But now, I think it makes sense to give him a short-term deal because anyone that's looking to come to the club, every person... like it said, this person might come. Everyone has said it's a short-term deal to the end of the season. So I don't see the point of having to have someone in for short term to then pay them off again at the end of it if you're done and dusted, if they don't do well. He's already doing what we're doing. We're already looking a lot better. Christ, he's playing simple tactics. He did a 4-4-2. It's like, I ain't seen that in a Wednesday team in a long time.
I kind of sit on the line of, I get what you're saying with the short-term deal, but the pessimist in me goes, as soon as you give him that short-term deal, and I've seen it so many times, the players will start to down tools a little bit again, and it'll fall off. Because for some reason, yes, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It could be the fact that he's giving them more freedom, or whatever it is, but at the minute, it's working, just keeping it in limbo.
Yeah.
Until the results start to dip, keep it in limbo, because we can't afford to give him a short-term deal and then it fall off the edge of the cliff, you know?
Yeah.
Because also a case of he's already employed at the club. So I don't even know if you need to give him a short-term deal, so to speak. But even if you say he's going to be the manager till the end of the season and then we're going to look for somebody in the summer.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't think they should say it.
No, it should be something. Do you reckon it's something that might have been said behind closed doors, kind of thing, to him? Or
well, I don't know, because we were hearing links, very credible links of short-term deals being offered to managers as of last week and as of transfer deadline day. So I think that Chansiri is still looking, but you can't argue with the results. What you can argue with, and this is the one side I will take, and watch this be completely outdated now, but the only worry I had when watching Coventry, and that's the only thing I can take worries from Neil Thompson's performance, his form table has us top of the league, joint top of the league on form table since Pulis left. That's mental, right? But he seems to not have a plan B if plan A ain't working. Plan A's worked every time so far. And in Bournemouth, we got the last minute goal, right? They equalised, and I was like, oh, has he got this? The plan B he doesn't have is games where we seem to not be able to get anything out of it. Coventry, when they were shutting us out and they were playing that scrappy game, we weren't taking it to them. We couldn't get anywhere in it, you know, and then they started getting the goals. And I worry that there's not a plan B for those situations. That is my only concern, because we've got a lot of those coming up, right? We've got Wickham coming up.
Yeah.
We got
Swansea.
Yeah,
Wickham, Swansea.
We'll talk about them a little bit later on.
Check
the full podcast out, and make sure you're checking all the full podcast out if this has broken out at all.
For me, is that this is the first time in a very long time we've actually played well after Christmas.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Yeah, no, I said that the other day.
You said that last week. You said that last podcast, where every Christmas it normally would be we have a really good Boxing Day, New Year, and then it just plummets. Something happened, but this is weird.
Maybe that's why he brought Pulis on and then sacked him after 45 days, because it's Christmas. You got to go now. We don't have this. But then again, that's not worked in the past. But yeah, we are. What's unfortunate for us at this current situation is we need Neil to keep us consistent and keep us performing, because all the other teams that were doing badly have started to get results and started to claw their way out of it, which obviously impacts us massively. I think he's a likeable bloke. Is a likeable bloke enough to give him the deal if the results start to drop, though? No, I don't think it is.
No.
So, but for now, I'm quite happy. Like, his results are up there. And while the results are, I just say leave it in limbo. People might disagree with that, but for me, you leave it in limbo until things start to sour or things start to get so good that you've got to give him the deal, right? If he just keeps winning and we're out of the relegation zone, he deserves the contract and he deserves a shot at it.
It's that cheap thing. It's based on result business. And I think I read a stat somewhere where it said we hadn't had like back-to-back home wins like 2016 or something daft like that. Kind of thing.
I wouldn't be surprised by any awful stat for Wednesday at the minute. But I definitely want to see the results carry on. I'm loving it. I'm shocked every week. Every match day, I'm like, what? What's happening?
But we're also playing decent football while that's happening at the same time, which is interesting.
The one thing I really want to say about Neil Thompson is when we perform under him, we tend to attack when we've got one goal up. He's realised that we do bottle, and there's a mentality in this team. If we're trying to hold on, it collapses at the last second. take that with Bournemouth, where we scored in the last minute. Instead of settling for the draw in the last minute, we were still pushing and we scored in the last minute. We are fighting under him, and I like that, which is why I do want to see him given a chance, but maybe not officially, because I kind of believe that's when things start to fall apart.
I'll be a little bit dating myself here, because we used to do it when we used to have like Sean McCauley come in as the assistant. He'd have a good run as assistant, then we'd bring a new manager in, and then it would work to a point, but then it would go down. It's one of these ones where football's result business. Are we getting the results at the minute? Yes. Is he winning games? Yes. Is the time where we need another plan B? Yeah, but at the minute, he's doing the business and we're winning games, and that's all we need right now.
No, definitely. This is one of the ones I definitely want to know what people's thoughts are. Are you, because you're obviously going to be happy with results, but what are your thoughts on Thompson till the end of the season? Let us know in whatever comment section you've got available across the podcast services. Everything we can see, all the comments. So give us a shout. Well, most of them.
Some kind of having what's the word? Consistency. It would be nice where they know what's happening. Kind of thing.
But they seem to be doing well without it. So long may it continue.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay. More about the January transfer window before we get into your community topics today. Because, believe it or not, even though there's been a transfer window, there's not been absolutely loads of news. I just wanted to highlight some players that we missed out on, just to make us all chipper. And that I think are the best of the January transfer window. And please do pull up on any of these that you want to discuss further. But the first one I've got is Tom Ince went from Stoke to Luton on loan.
Good deal that for Luton.
I think it is. I think Tom Ince is definitely not the Tom Ince he used to be. No. But it's a bit of a get for Luton. Luton Town have recently been getting some decent gets in that regards. They've been performing consistently as a championship side, and I don't think they're going to be really be in danger this season, as a lot of people thought. Pelupessy went from Everton to Middlesbrough on loan. Apparently wouldn't fit their system, a lot of people were saying, but I don't really know if I agree with that. We'd have to see.
If he's still got his speed, he could be quite a handful.
Have we played Borough twice yet?
I'm hoping so.
Even though we beat them, Jack Wilshere went to Bournemouth on a free. I think that was a good bit of business. He's probably on like 40k a week. He's probably up there with the championship wages. But
and I think he'd been there already before, wasn't he? He was on loan.
He was training with them.
Yeah,
and he'd been with them in the Prem for a little while. So I think it was a smart move. He was training with them. They've given him a short-term deal. He's only a deal till the end of the season. So getting Jack Wilshere in the championship, that's the kind of thing as well. He understands his injury record, but he's also showing a bit of loyalty back to the club there in Bournemouth. Good to see for them, and especially now we've played them twice and we've done the double. So we don't have to worry about it. Charlie Austin, QPR on loan from West Brom.
Very good deal, that one.
Very good deal for the championship. Charlie Austin knows how to score in this league. One I'm annoyed we didn't get, it was an undisclosed fee though, that's probably why they had to pay for him, is Rolando Aarons.
This is because this deal got done at the end of the summer transfer, but the paperwork didn't get in through on time.
Right, I'll shut up. Fair play. Winston Reid, West Ham United to Brentford on loan.
I didn't know about that. That is a cracking bit of business. Yeah,
Brentford are really trying to cement it, aren't they, this season? Yeah. And the one that I think is probably the best one, especially because he scored on his debut, is Hurahan from Villa to Swansea on loan. We took... I think I spoke about that recently. I don't know if it was on the Dexterity Watch. I don't think it was on. Yeah, I think he's a bit of under the radar business. That is a cracking move because at this level he knew what he was doing for sure. He's obviously been a little bit out of form. I think, didn't he pick up an injury or something?
He did. He picked up an injury and then Villa started buying a lot of decent players where it pushed him down. And I think it's what he wants. If he can get back to fitness, if Swansea go up, that'll be a good deal for them to probably sign him as like one of their players.
It's also a case of Villa have got a good side at the minute, so he's always going to struggle to get in there, even if he's fully fit and on form.
The other one that's not on there, which I took from it, I think Glenn Murray to Forest is a good one, especially with them being in the battle they're in with us at the minute. He knows where goals are.
Yeah, no, he is. He's got the experience.
As much as it annoyed me, because when you looked at the transfer deadline day, everybody around us was strengthening either strikers or wingers,
Huddersfield signed Keogh as well, didn't they? Yeah. I don't know if that's everybody's going for the experience because they realise it's going to get scrappy this season because it is. It's been a scrappy season in general. It's not been the best season, but yeah, I just thought it'd be worth talking about. They're the players we could have got if we'd looked up there, but I don't think a few of them would come to us in our current situation. It's very obvious that they didn't. So
Aaron's enjoy that possibly because he's been here before.
Yeah, but that deal obviously.
If they already had a deal there, there was a deal already on the table. It makes no sense.
Makes sense. Makes sense that he'd go there if he'd already got the deal there. But yes, we've got a few more community topics this week. We're going to end the episode with quite a few community topics before. No, we're not. We're going to talk about the community topics, then we're going to talk about the upcoming fixtures after you've watched this. But I always forget that there's actual matches now because we started this podcast during postponements.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one I can't really answer purely because it kind of gives away some things that I will talk about eventually. But have you met any Wednesday players in real life? I'm going to throw this one to you, Punk.
I've done it.
If I answer this truthfully, it kind of gives away some things, which is why I was just like, let Punk do it.
I've done it a couple of times at House in the Park, done that stupidly long queue to meet players. And I did run into Harry when he first signed in HMV in Sheffield with his, I think it's his partner, which was weird. I looked up and went, "Oh, you're Harris." He went, "Oh, you're a fan." Yeah, sorry.
That's all. I bet he was like, "Oh my God, let me go." Because that's the thing.
He'd only just signed like a couple of days beforehand. So I think he was just getting himself cultured with the Sheffield.
The fact that you took your shirt off and asked him to sign it was probably the thing that he was a bit freaked out about.
The tattoo on my back still healing.
That comment, by the way, sorry, I didn't say it's from YouTube sub RJB2508. Asked it. Got quite a few likes from people, so clearly that's one people want read. But yeah,
I'd be interested to see.
I have bumped into some players in Owls in the Park. Said hello. Yeah. I said hello to Rhodes and things like that, but I didn't queue. I just got them when they were like.
I kind of always bump into Lee Bullen every time.
Yeah.
Every time he walks around with his family and you just bump into him. And it was the year my little one was still there and he just looked at me and went, "She okay?" I said, "I hope so. She's not due till December."
I actually met a lot of the 2003-4 squad when I was a kid. I can't remember who exactly though because I was a kid, and I was, but yeah, I'll try and rack my brains for that one a little bit more. Who I actually, because I've got a signed ball somewhere because we came to one of those community football things when I was a wee lad. The next question is from. Thank you for your topics, by the way. They are for subscribers and people who follow our Twitter at Talking Wednesday.
Remember, you're watching this and you're watching the watch-alongs, please remember they're in the community tab.
Yeah.
We will not during this game.
A lot of people go during my streams, because obviously we stream watch-alongs. A lot of people do post them in there. They're for subscribers in the community tab. That's how you get your topics in. And obviously sometimes on Twitter. But I will be prioritising the community tab, because those people have took the time to come and subscribe.
It might be worth doing like a little video, like a little thing going, "This is where it is," because I think some people might not know where it is.
It's all right, as long as we keep saying it. The people that do know and have known for 2 weeks will get really annoyed with us, so sorry for that. But the people that are just catching on go, "Oh," and then forget and do it at the weekend. So, the next question is from Lucas Hulley, YouTube sub again in the community tab. Do you rate Rhodes, and should he play more games? Are Wednesday playing towards his strengths? What do you think?
After Bournemouth game, in one game, yes, we played towards his strength.
He's been here a little longer than that, though.
But the entire time we've had him, we've never played towards his strength, really. And I think that's been the issue. We've never done that kind of searching ball. He's a little bit of a poacher in the box, and we've not really had that. He's not that player that's going to like tap the ball and run with it and drive with it and then get the goal. He's that one that could be close to goal. You're going to have someone as a hold-up play, and Rhodes is going to be somewhere in around there. We haven't played to his strength, no, and that's kind of disappointing considering A, how much we paid for him, B, how long he's been here, and C, he's done it for every other club. He might have to play at the weekend. I wouldn't mind giving him a start due to Patterson going off injured. I'd rather him get back to full fitness and just let Rhodes go in. We haven't seen Rhodes start in a while. So it would
I'd
be
also like
interesting.
to say that it's weird that this season that it's weird that this season the best thing about our team has been delivery, which someone like Jordan Rhodes thrives off, and we've not been playing Jordan Rhodes. So like the one thing that we've had is the delivery and not the end product. Before we had the end product but not the delivery. So players like Rhodes didn't work because the actual end product was the goals were coming from our wingers, from the midfield, our strikers were creating themselves. Rhodes relies on someone putting it on his head or bringing it to his feet. He's a poacher, right?
We all remember that Forest game. That Forest game was typical Rhodes.
The issue is you need many chances because when he's slightly out of form and he hasn't been playing that long, he can actually take a little while to get into the game and miss chances. Then everyone calls him crap, you know. So I'm happy that he got the goal against Bournemouth.
And
got
also
some
to
tough
mention,
fixtures
it's
coming
his
up.
birthday today.
How?
I've just seen that it popped up on their thing.
You're dating the podcast again. You will learn how to podcast, even though we've obviously told you that we filmed this a little bit earlier on. But he's how old is he now? 31.
I want to say.
Yeah. So I hope we start playing to his strengths a little bit more if we can get goals out of him. But it was a good header, and honestly, I could have gone through the roof when that went in against Bournemouth. Next question is from CC1867, a YouTube sub. Does Hutchinson stay at centre-back for you? Do you like him there? I think it's his best position. Thank you very much for writing in, CC.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. He's solid, apart from the penalty. Let's forget that. But I've said all along I want to see him more as a centre-back. I think he'll pick up more injuries in the midfield because he's trying to run with it. He does come out of it, though. When we play that back three line, he runs out a little bit more. So he's a ball-playing defender. He acts as a ball-playing centre-back. Iorfa is kind of our only other one of those, and he's got a long-term injury. Yeah. So if we're using him like for like in that, we can then utilise Hutchinson a little bit more when Iorfa comes back from injury. I think it's a win-win. Keep him as a centre-back. He just needs to make sure he doesn't make any silly decisions, giving away any silly penalties.
And I think it's one of those things, for what we know about his injury record, I think him being in centre-back. And Tom Lees has always been one of those people, if he got someone who's like a Louvens or Iorfa, he played better. And Hutch is actually probably helping Lee game better.
He needs someone vocal next to him because the problem is he was our captain, but he's not a vocal captain. He shouts about it, but you can tell that his kind of general aura and his kind of general personality, the way he vibes, is he's kind of like the dude that's a solid lad and knows what he's doing, but he kind of needs somebody to guide him.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you get those personalities in life, people that are quite quiet but can do the business, but they actually excel and do better when they've got somebody who's a bit more headstrong.
Yeah,
they don't technically they don't even have to be a better defender. They just need to, because Louvens didn't have the pace when Lees did. No. But he had somebody next to him, giving him that confidence and that guidance, and it brought the best out of him.
To be fair, I think some of the worst spells we've had with Wednesday when he was captain, because I don't think he was right for captain, but it seems like people weren't looking to jump up to take that responsibility at the time.
No, and I respect him for not being throwing his toys out the pram when it was given to Bannon. I've got a lot of respect for Tom Lees because of that. The next comment is from Bennett4598 on the Talking Wednesday Twitter, at Talking Wed, if you want to check it out and get your topic suggestions to us as well. Ask us about the confidence of young players. Iragidi these past few games compared to Iragidi last season is a different gravy. Shaw, Hunt, Brennan, Galvin, Dele-Bashiru, not a single one of them has looked afraid to be on the pitch. Very refreshing to see. So, narrow this question down to the youth compared to the seasons before, I'd say, and this season, what we're seeing out of them a little bit more.
You're seeing, they know if they play, they're going to get a chance again. And I think that's the thing. I think if you see people playing and your youth team saying, it's like probably Shaw getting game time, probably gone, we can actually get into this team, where that's not been a thing. There's not been a kind of road to coming in. It's been a youth team. You go out, you don't even go out on loan that much. You literally play under 23s, and at the end of that, we'll see what happens. So I think it'll done them a lot of good. Ozzy, which I'm going to use that because I'm not even going to attempt it again because I'm bad at his surname, has
Ozzy?
Yeah, Oz. That's his first name.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. For some reason, my brain for a second went, it's a you? For Regini, I was like, what are you doing? But yeah, no, sorry, carry on.
But I got that thing. He looked very good when he played Brighton in the cup, that thing. And then he got that injury and then we didn't see much of him. Now he's back in again and he's looking really solid.
Honestly, he's the one that's impressing me.
He bulked up a lot of well.
That's the worry. What's the worrying thing now? Because like he's obviously, he did that interview. He's got a lot of character. He's a likable character.
Yeah.
That kind of young player I want in this squad. So
Everton were very impressed with him, apparently. Eek. Sure.
Everton are pretty good at getting youth prospects as well. That's quite annoying.
It's one of these things. If youth team players see that their mates are getting into the first team, it can push their game. And I think that's the thing that we've not had at Wednesday for a hell of a long time. It's been, if you've got a youth team set up, sodding use it. They're there. Even if
it says Hunt as well
15.
here. For me, I think I think the one thing Hunt should have done is bulked up in the summer.
He still looks a little too lightweight. Small. Yeah.
He's got the technical ability, but you need some physicality in the Championship. And this is not like, if he was in the Prem, you can kind of get away with not having the physicality.
Yeah.
Because,
technically got it.
Yeah, because you're surrounded by players with such skill that you can be quick and nimble and get through. In the Championship, their ability is still quite high, but it's lower to a point where you will come against those teams where a centre-back is just going to take you straight out and a defensive anchor man is just going to literally clamp to you and you are not going to be able to do anything unless you've got enough. You can have skill and you can skill past those and that can work, but what happens when they will literally not give you an inch and you've not got any physicality to pull out of a challenge? Because the thing is, you will get fouls if they pull your shirt.
Oh,
right?
Definitely.
But if you're not strong enough when they're pulling your shirt to like actually be able to break away, you're not even going to win the foul. You know, you've got to. I think he needs to bulk up a little bit more because I like his technical ability. I think he's a promising
new
player.
Deal as well. The fact that there's a new deal on the card for him, I think next season it got to be sign that new deal, and we're going to send you to League One or League Two. Go play against some hard lads who have been in this for a long time. I'm a big fan. If you're a youth team player and you get the opportunity to go down to League Two, go. Because you're going to learn that game so much faster than being in the under-23s. A 30-odd-year-old veteran coming at you, then someone your own size, you're going to feel it the next day. You're going to know what to do.
Yeah. You might also lose your ankle. But
or teeth.
The opposite for me, I'm going to skip straight to Dele-Bashiru. He is physical.
Yes.
And he is actually quite exciting when I watch him. I think it's very obvious that he still needs some finesse. He still needs a little bit of work. However, I do want to see him being integrated into the squad a little bit more because from what I have seen, he's definitely got promise. So it'd be nice to see him used a little bit more.
I think for Dele-Bashiru, it's just his final decision making, I've noticed, where he should play the ball a little bit early instead of like going for the glory and the goal shot. He's done that a bit where he's gone in the box, gone for the shot, and it's like he could have released it a bit earlier, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, definitely. But he's got that hunger. It shows he's got that hunger as a player. He wants to score, so I'm never going to slag that off. Yeah, for his age, he's built.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that question. That was a good question. Next one is from ECP1867 on the Talking Wednesday Twitter again. Last one that we're going to do for the questions. Probably a bit controversial for some people who've not been watching Wednesday.
Now this is the same.
And this could be, I don't know if this is a Mick taking the question itself, right? Because you never know where the fans sit on it. And you can say this, but I wanted to bring this up because I've genuinely seen improvement.
This is where we're going to have that awkward thing when it comes to a podcast. We're both going to actually agree on this because we've had this discussion offline.
The question is, how good has Joey Pelupessy become? Right?
Really solid.
And he's become that player that's gone from, I used to give him a bit of praise. I used to give him a lot of stick as well. He needed to make more tactical fouls. He needed to put his body on the line. But he became that player about a season ago that did his job quietly. And he was that under Monk at the first half of the season. But the past few matches, and past 10 plus matches I've seen him in, he's actually getting on the ball more and he's trying to make stuff happen. And he's playing more like Luongo he's actually playing more like Luongo.
He's stepped up.
He has. And I've got to respect that because he is obviously the scapegoat, the current Wednesday scapegoat, but he has actually stepped up in matches. And yes, people who've not obviously watched a lot will not fully understand that because yes, I have also seen Pelupessy have games where he's hardly touched the ball, right? But now
he's properly stepped up, hasn't he? He's making that position a little bit of his own again. So when Longo does come back, it can be hard for him to dislodge it.
Well, Longo is back, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I don't know if he's going to walk straight into it, like people think he's going to do, because Pelupessy has just been very, very consistent recently. Granted, there are times where he does lose the ball, but when he does lose the ball, a couple of months ago, he wasn't running back to try and get it, but he now is. There's that hunger. He's like, I lost the ball, I'm getting that back. And he's not giving that many fouls away now. He kind of had that kind of thing. There was a time where you would...
I like stories like this. I like players that were the scapegoat for a while, but then come good, especially if they stick around for a little while, because we had it with Nuiu.
Yep.
Right? We had it with Fox, but then he went off as soon as he started to get good. Pelupessy could actually become a solid player for us. I want to see more out of him.
And he's out of contract. I think you give him another year at the end of the year.
Did we not even mention that he was one of the ones out of contract either? There's loads.
I don't think so.
That was your job. You're the facts man.
No, I did mention it. No. I did mention it. I went through the list of players. Yes.
Fair enough. But I thought it was that's a good community topic to end on because it's going to be controversial, obviously.
It's going to split people.
But from what I've watched, I'm happy with the way he's progressing as a player. So, we're going to end our podcast with talking about the upcoming matches for Sheffield Wednesday. At the time of seeing this podcast, you have got Wycombe as the next match.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Which is...
Got to win.
We've got to, really, because we gave them their first ever championship win in history, right? And I like Wycombe. I've always had a soft spot for them since that League One promotion. Yeah, if you were there at that League One promotion season, you'll know their fans were absolutely class that day, and it was a good memory. And the fact that they've got Akinfenwa, you just can't not like them at the minute.
To be fair, there's not many opposition fans where they turn around and they're about to go, and Wednesday fans go, "Where you going? Come in the pub, come celebrate with us." Kind of thing. And like, but we haven't. Yeah, but you were class. Come on.
No, exactly. And there's not many that give a standing ovation when they've just been relegated and you've just got promoted. They give the other team a standing ovation. I really respected the fans for that. But yes, it's going to be a tough game. Because Wycombe are fighting for their lives. If we lose that one, that's trouble. That is trouble because we need to be clawing the points. Wycombe are the only team that are really doing worse than us. Before this, that we've had a points deduction and they're below us.
Yeah.
So we need to win.
And
we won't. Maybe.
That table is starting to get very tight now when you look at who's around it, kind of thing. And we it's one of these things, you want to say when you're in a position that we're in, you want to win every game. That's just not possible when you see some of the games we've got coming up. Some of the games we are going to struggle with. But some of those games, those kind of games where we shouldn't win because they're high up the league, but then we do. And these are the games versus Wycombe where we probably don't. So can we balance it where we beat the ones that are near us and do a little bit okay against the ones higher up? Because these are the ones where if we start losing against teams around us, they're the ones that are going to affect us, especially if teams are now starting to play for their life, noticing that they're in that battle now. And when a team gets into that mentality...
That's the reason we need... They're going to be battling for their lives, and the reason we need to beat Wycombe is because we've got Swansea after Wycombe. And Swansea have got Hurahan, who scored on his debut.
Good goal.
And I'm nervous about Swansea. But then again, we do perform well against the up their sides. So it would be the most Wednesday thing ever to lose to Wycombe and beat Swansea.
Yeah, it really would.
I mean, I'm probably calling that now. But technically, we need 4 points from those fixtures if we're going to keep on a good run of form.
Yeah, we do.
4 points. I'll even take them either way they come at the minute. I'll be more annoyed if we draw at Wycombe and win at Swansea because it'll feel like 2 points dropped.
Especially since how well we did against Bournemouth.
Exactly.
Well, Bournemouth at the minute, depending on how we do against Millwall.
Exactly, yeah. It's weird filming this before a match, but yeah. Depending on the Millwall result, that'll affect us. I'll say this now, if we have lost to Millwall when you're watching this, we need 6 points.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're in that thing where it's the cliche, but every match is a cup final and we need to scrap our way out of relegation. So we need to beat everybody that comes in front of us.
And I've got to admit, a couple of months ago, I didn't think these players were up for a fight. I now see fighting these players who are ready for it and ready to go.
It's a very different vibe in a short space of time.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Was Pulis just an absolute... I'm not going to say it for the reasons, but you know what I'm going to say. Was he just a...
Yeah.
You know...
It does come across that way, doesn't it?
Maybe. It seems it with the way the players have reacted, so... We'll have to see. We'll have to see what comes out in the wash. We've got feelers out. We're talking to certain people. We'll see if we can get any information for you. If you've got any information for us, as always, drop us an email, talkingwednesdaypodcast@gmail.com, and we will talk to you anonymously. And we're seeing more of the situation, but the players are up for it. I'm looking forward to watching the matches. I think I should be doing both Wickham and Swansea on Dexterity Watch, because I'm feeling like the run of Dexterity Watch at the minute. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So depending on it, hang on, what's the Swansea? No, yeah, I should be doing both of them. So if that changes, I'll let you know on Twitter or the community tab. But yeah, that's all I've got for today.
I just want to say congratulations to Dexterity Bot for getting 2.5k subs.
Thank you. That is very much a combination thing of this channel, the videos we put on this channel, and obviously a Talking Wednesday podcast has helped out with that as well. So thank you for your contribution to that. Go and subscribe to Punk Chef 41 if you haven't as well. I will start remembering to put our links in the description. I always forget because it's a copy and paste job when I'm editing these into the night, so I'll make sure that if you haven't already, go check he is the facts guy. I'm just going to start calling you the facts guy.
He's the facts guy that can't pronounce names. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So he's the facts guy, even if he struggles to actually correctly enunciate the facts. But the facts will be there. So go subscribe to him. If you're listening on podcast services, leave us nice reviews. They are massively important to the success of this podcast. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See you later.